We're taking some measurements up here at the bow because in a few days we're going to drive down to the south of the Netherlands to pick up our jet thruster. And we're really excited because this is the first equipment that we are going to install in the boat. And when you think of a bow thruster, you're probably thinking of the traditional ones that has a propeller that either sits through a tunnel, through the hull, or that folds down in the water. But because Round 3 has a pretty shallow bow area, it's not possible to fit the one in the tunnel, and we're not too fond of the one that folds down because it's quite easy to snag a mooring line, for example, or that it breaks because you forget to pull it up when you start sailing. So we've been thinking about other solutions, but then we visited the boat show in Düsseldorf in 2023, and we walked by a booth that had a jet thruster. And that just seemed like such a smart solution, and that a solution that would work for us. So we started talking with the guys. It was a Dutch family company, and we actually exchanged contacts. And since then, we've been in contact with each other, and now we have decided to get one. And right now, they're putting together our kit, and they need to know the angle of the hull where the outlet nozzles are going to sit. So we just printed some templates from their website to check which angle has the best fit. And we think it's the 25 degrees. The nozzles are going to be placed 7 to 10 centimeters below the waterline. And here we have the waterline, and this is where we made the mark for the nozzles. So as I said, the 25 degrees angle has the best fit. So the nozzle will sit something like that, horizontal of course. And yeah, we're gonna send this to them now so they can put together the rest of the kit. And we're bringing Vera on this trip, so we'll have some vacation as well. And it's gonna be nice with some time off the boat and the farm to see something new. So we're gonna drive straight down to the Netherlands, but then on our way back, we'll make a stop in Germany, and then we'll finish the trip in Lalandia, which is a huge indoor water park in Denmark. And Vera is really excited about that.
Vi ska åka ditåt.
Var är vi på väg med?
Till Holland.
Vad ska vi göra i Holland?
Bada.
Bada? Nej, vi ska inte bada. Vi ska hämta en, vadå?
En maskin.
Vi ska hämta en maskin till båten.
It's been a long day in the car, but we are now in the Netherlands. We have 2 hours left until we reach our destination, which is outside of Rotterdam in the south of Netherlands. We're going to a little town called Dordrecht. We woke up 4 a.m. this morning, so we've been driving all day. This is our 4th country today: Sweden, Denmark, Germany, and now the Netherlands. Tomorrow we're going to the factory where we're gonna meet the team and pick up the bow thruster. It's really warm outside. It's close to 20 degrees Celsius. And it's a mouse. A mouse. And spring has come so much further here than in our place. Vi är framme om 1 timme och 42 minuter. 1 hour and 42 minutes left. It's been a good day. We made lunch. There are not many places to stop for lunch on the way, so
Det är bara 2 minuter kvar.
we checked into the old town hotel and then went out for a walk to see the surroundings. Dordrecht is the oldest town in the Netherlands and was founded just after the year 1000. It's such a picturesque town and very similar to Amsterdam, but without all the tourists. And with all the canals and buildings going straight down in the water, it also gave a Venice vibe. The weather was warm and it was the perfect end to a long day in the car.
Vi leker predator.
The next morning, we went for a short walk before heading over to Jet Thruster headquarters. It's interesting with all the barges here, and that people live full-time on the barge and work with shipping goods on the rivers and canals in Europe.
So we're here at Jet Thruster's facility looking at our future bow thruster, which will be, I guess, the first gear that we're installing on our future boat. So really exciting for this.
Well, very welcome to our company.
Thank you.
My name is Peter Katz. I work for Jet Thruster, part of Holland Marine Parts. And we're very proud and happy to have you over at our company here in Dordrecht.
Thank you.
And like you said, I'd like to show to you all the products and parts that are going to be present inside the Jet Thruster system for your boat. So what I like to show to you here, the products that are selected for your project is the Jet Thruster JT90.
Yeah.
We know that for different boats you need different sizes thrusters.
Yeah.
There's a wide variety of range, but for your boat we need the JT90 because it's a 50-foot sailboat. We can expect some wind pressure and some force inside the marina being pushed onto the bow. The wind is going to be pushed by the bow into the wrong direction, and you want to fight it back, you want to push it back into the good direction.
Yeah.
So with help of the jet thruster, you are going to be able to have a large volume of water through a water pump to a nozzle. The water will go out of the nozzle and give the boat an opposite directional force. Mm-hmm. We will show you in our test facility how the thrust force actually looks like.
And all of these are like nylon?
Yeah, for
right?
corrosion-resistant purposes, we want to have all the products preferably in a composite material, because we know from marine graded nylon products, we know that corrosion has no effect on them. Mm-hmm. And that's important because salt water, warm salt water, is highly corrosive to metals.
Yeah.
That's why boats have zinc anodes. That's why you need to protect your gear from the salt water. That is why we have our water intake. Through the water is going to be into the system, as well as the following up components that go to the pump unit are all in composite. We take a look here. We have the intake all the way for the pump unit, and here you can see the JT90 pump unit. It's a centrifugal pump unit.
So the intake side is here, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Intake is the 4-inch intake connector, zinc anode, and then you have the actually turbine. The turbine is a centrifugal pump which is powered by a DC motor. That means that you can power it with a battery bank. Yeah. You don't need a lithium bank, or you don't need to have a specialized battery type. What we recommend is the Optima Yellow Top AGM battery. Yeah. And after the pump has done its trick, meaning it's going to give pressure and flow to the water, it will be distributed through the flexible hose, which is actually a standard flexible marine graded water suction discharge hose. Yeah. This one is 76 millimeters. So
yeah, just shy of 3 inch, right?
That could be converted to 3 inch. Yeah.
Yeah.
We relate to it as 76
Yeah.
inside diameter.
Okay.
That is the flow that's required for the flow rate of the system.
Yeah. So you have the intake, comes to the pump, goes through the hose, and then it goes to the, what do you call it, like a direction valve?
Correct, yeah, the directional valve. Because we know the water is coming only in one direction out of the pump, but you need to give it direction to the bow port or starboard. So at some point we must make sure that the water flow is going to be diverted or going to be selected to one side or the other side. And this is done by our directional valve. As you can see, it is a Y-shaped valve. I'll just turn it around on this side. You see the water is coming in through the intake side, and now is going to be selected port side or starboard side. So actually, this element is responsible for the flow to the left or the right side of the bow. Wow. And you select this with the joystick. So the system itself works like any normal thruster, just by the use of a joystick, pushing the joystick to the left or to the right. It means the system will activate and just have the flow going to the direction that you select. You can put the pump anywhere in the boat as long as the pump head is under the waterline.
Okay, yeah.
You need 30 centimeters of draft at the position where you want to place the pump.
Yeah.
Or the nozzles can be 7 centimeters under the waterline.
Yeah.
We want to have a positive pressure due to communicating vessels to have the pump casing itself under the waterline.
Yeah, that won't be a problem in our case. We'll have the waterline roughly around here, I think.
That's perfect. Then you know that the pressure from the outside water will automatically fill or run into the pump unit and will prime it.
Yeah.
So for priming reasons, we want to have the pump unit always under the waterline. It means that it will prime when you open the ball valve.
Yeah. The water will run back once you stop this.
Yeah, the system is open, so it is a continuously open flow. So water comes in, water comes out. Probably when you're sailing and when your nozzles go out of the water will just retract. Due to the suction under the boat, it will just be sucked out. But the moment you go back into the water, it will fill itself back in. So because the pump is under the waterline, backfilling the pump will happen in a natural way. And the moment you push the joystick, you have water pressure within a second. Because this is a very strong, powerful pump that will rapidly push out the water. I'll show you later in the water tank how much force and how much flow you can expect from this product.
Yeah, I have to say that it looks quite industrial. The whole, really. Yeah, it's a big motor.
It is a big motor. It is industrial. We want to have a product that is suitable for any weather condition, any application where you could expect it to run without any problem. So we want to have it suitable for industrial purposes, pleasure boats, sailing boats that are used in charter. We have barges. There are all kinds of different boats that are being used in professional application. So the way we construct and build the product is in an industrial way. That means, of course, that it is a little bit bulky in size, but it is very strong and very durable.
And I can see that you have two different, I see the other pallet there, that you have two different designs. Is there any advantage of any of them, or is it just for practical reasons that you can have it in different directions?
For practical reasons, we have two different setups. We have the horizontal version, when the water is going into the water intake.
So like here is the intake, and you have like a 90-degree angle.
That's true, and the ball valve. But some boats do not have the space. You are going to place the pump under the bed. Probably you will have enough space to put the whole assembly here. There are boats that are not spacious or do not have the place for the pump in a horizontal setup, and we can get this footprint of the pump unit much smaller by placing it vertical. So it means now the pump unit is standing onto its water intake, and the water is being directly drawn into the pump from the underside of the boat and going to continue afterwards to the directional valve.
Yeah, I've been reading a little bit on your webpage, and from my understanding, it doesn't really matter for the thrust where the position of the nozzles are. It's mostly like you don't want to have them above the waterline because you will splash your neighbors. You should have them 5 to 10 centimeters below the waterline.
Yeah, preferably 7 to 10 centimeters.
7 to 10.
Yeah, that's if we take a look at the jet thruster nozzle. For your boat, the 25 degree or 35 degree probably will be suitable. Like you showed with the special templates that we have available, you are able now to select the correct angle of the nozzle. It means that the hull of the sailing yacht will be under an angle or will have an angle, and we want to make sure that the nozzle is not going to be installed in a upwards position. You will shoot the water out, you lose energy and everything will be wet. Or if you have it too much down, it means that technically the boat wants to be pushed up. We don't want that. We want the nozzle to be as horizontal as we can, and then we have a rotation on the pivoting point of the boat. That's the most efficient.
But the force applied to the bow, it doesn't need the water outside to push against, right? It's only the force is coming from the water getting exited from the nozzle.
That is a beautiful thing of the jet thruster product. It is a jet. And any jet is actually physics. It means like the moment you have an output of force, you get an opposite directional force back. And a jet functions in a way that the mass of the water at the velocity of the water itself, at the moment you shoot it out of this nozzle, will give you that opposite reactional force.
And sound-wise, is there a difference if you compare it to like a traditional bow thruster? Will this make, you know, the same amount of sound? You know, that
the system is making less sound compared to a traditional thruster, because the normal situation with the propeller is that it will cavitate, where the jet thruster will not cavitate. So the sound level of the cavitation that you normally hear inside the marina of a bow thruster in operation, this sound the jet thruster does not have.
And I guess a common question that I guess you will get with jet is that the efficiency is lower on a jet system compared to a propeller.
The efficiency you could explain in the fact that the water pump will take more energy to pump the water. Yes, that's true. So the actually energy that you require to drive the pump compared to a traditional bow thruster is more. But the nozzle in your hand, that when you place it inside the bow of your boat, is going to be more forward. So we are creating a longer arm of momentum towards the pivoting point of the boat. A greater arm means that you have a larger leverage and that you have a better efficiency in the boat. So this will balance out a little bit. So overall, the efficiency of the pump will is less compared to a traditional propeller thruster, but the efficiency of having the nozzle more forward into the bow, that is a powerful advantage, and making sure that the boat react very easy and very, very well to the system.
So in practical terms, it will be the same because you get the benefit of the longer pivot arm. But more traditional, where you have the propeller further to the aft, you will have more efficient in the water. So in the end, it will be more or less the same.
And because the nozzle does not have to be as deep inside the water as a traditional thruster, and it's only have to be 10 centimeters, like we just explained, below the waterline, you can now have it more into the front of the boat. So also boats that are very shallow, that cannot have a traditional propeller thruster, they now have an opportunity to place the jet thruster nozzle in a very shallow draft hull.
Like on our hull.
So we have here our water tank with 6,000 liters of water, and the pump unit is going to push the water into this nozzle behind me, so we can fully test in a circle way to reuse the water over and over. For every pump that we sell, we of course are going to test it 100%. And this is a nice tool to show the force, but it actually is equipment for our company to use every day.
And didn't you have something similar at the boat show, where you could test and see?
That's true, we have a small demo with a tube where we push up the water and it just falls back into the water tank. That's a nice gimmick to show the people and to the attraction of actually how the water flow looks like.
Yeah, and it's easier for people to visualize and see how it works.
But this here is a true pump unit JT94 that you will have in your boat.
Wow.
And you can see it's quite a strong flow rate here. I can touch it with my hands.
what's the flow rate of the pump? How many liters of water per minute does it pump?
That will be at least 1,000 liters a minute.
Oh, wow. Could you use it for emergency, like evacuating water from the boat?
Not for getting water outside of the boat, because it will mean that the pump would also be submerged. What we do see is that several customers use the thruster as a firefighter extinguisher. So you now have a very powerful water pump. So if you want to have a fire extinguish system, you can bypass the water flow into that fire extinguish system and have a lot of water going to your engine room or wherever you want to have the nozzles of your fire extinguishing system.
Cool.
That's 24 volt, Brian. So with the 12 now we'll go to 48 volts. This is what you can expect.
We can be spinning around in the harbors with this. Go full circles, do like a really good show.
Yes, you can.
It's so powerful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the power of water is always impressive. And seeing the nozzle, the water coming from the nozzle is, in this case, very visual. Inside the boat, your boat, when the nozzle is under the waterline, you will see a white spray. In the salt water, it will just in the marina cause a nice white spray, and you'll see the system is in action, but you don't really hear it very much. But you'll see it, of course, when the jet is coming out of the nozzle. Yeah.
No, but it's good, so it doesn't disturb the other boaters.
No. You can also touch it if you want. You can have an idea of what you're working with. And don't drop it on your foot.
No, I won't.
What is this, Johan?
No, so this is the impeller and the impeller housing. And this is the actual, impeller. Yeah, the pump or the water gets thrown out in this direction, right?
Yes, because
Sucked
of the rotation.
in here.
Yeah, sucks in here, and through the rotation of the impeller, that's how a centrifugal pump works. The centrifugal force, it means like the slingshot of the water flow will be actually outwards of the pump design, and because it is a slingshot effect, it will rotate. In this case, it will just go outside of the pump due to the centrifugal force.
Yeah.
What we do is we have here a plastic injection molded piece with a fiberglass or the glass element inside. It is a very strong, sturdy casing, and it will just go to the pump flange. And the pump flange you can see here, it will bolt on it, and the pump flange is going to be connected to your motor.
Yeah.
And the motor will just drive this whole assembly. So we take a look at the shaft assembly on this side. Here you can see the bearing. Inside we have the seals here, and on the outside we have the impeller.
Oh, the O-ring seal sits after the bearing.
That's correct. Yeah, it's how you call it a close coupled pump. It means that the motor and the pump casing itself are two separate items, giving a wonderful opportunity in case something is wrong with the motor. You can always take off the motor and can leave the whole assembly in place.
Okay. What's the most common thing to change on this? Is it the impeller or the bearings?
We never see any problems with the impeller because the impeller is protected by the filter. Nothing comes in.
Yeah.
But if you take a look at the design of the impeller, you can see that these edges are very sharp.
Yeah.
Considering the RPM level, so the rotation speed of the impeller, it will just chop everything into pieces. Yeah. It will hack it into the pieces of small debris, and it will just go out. You saw in the water tank how much flow rate that we have.
Yeah.
You can imagine that a small particle will just flush out in a fraction of a second.
Yeah, and I guess like we talked about before, like sand and silt, it's really not
nothing.
A problem.
For this pump, that's nothing.
Yeah.
It will just process it instantly. The only maintenance you have to do is you have to take a close look at the zinc anode.
Yeah.
The zinc anode is also present in your pump. Here we have the zinc anode. It's actually a ring in front of the pump intake and after the pump inlet flange. So if you feel inside with your finger, you can actually feel the zinc ring anode.
Oh, so it's this whole thing here, right?
Inside there's the zinc anode present, and the water will just flow through the zinc anode. Instead of over, that you see on the outside of the boat, we developed a system that we do not interfere or interact with the flow of the water.
And how often roughly? I guess it depends on
Every 1
water.
to 2 years,
Yeah.
but probably, most likely, it will be once every 2 years that you need to change it.
All right.
These are the zinc rings that go into your zinc anode holder. It
Yeah.
means that you do not have to change the complete plastic holder again.
Oh.
You just simply insert a new zinc ring.
I didn't ask that before, but the impeller, it's made from stainless steel, also the impeller?
Yeah, it's made
Yeah.
from stainless steel, from a high-grade stainless steel.
Yeah.
It means we make it from a duplex, which is
Oh,
has a
duplex, okay.
duplex, which has a higher chromium level.
Yeah.
So it is very, very corrosive resistant.
Do you need to like close off the system when it's cold, like if, you
Yeah.
know, if something freezes?
Yes, winterizing the system is actually quite easy.
Yeah.
We have a special plug on the pump outlet that you can remove and you can drain the water from it, use with compressed air. Or if you hold the boat out of the water, put it on the land, immediately when you put it out of the water, most of the water will already drain.
Yeah.
And like I always say to customers, when you put a full glass a bottle of water inside the fridge, it will burst. But if you put a half full bottle of water, nothing happens.
No.
The water can expand. Same in our system. If you release a little bit of the water can, when it turns into ice, can immediately expand a little bit, creating no problems.
No?
Peter also works as a captain for a custom canal boat tours company called Sea Barone. And he had arranged for us to go on a boat ride on one of their boats, which happened to be a beautiful Swedish Iversen from the 50s, which also had a jet thruster installed.
And then we're going to get the coffee from the shop.
Oh, yeah.
That's getting the coffee Dordrecht style.
It was so much fun to spend time with the team from Jet Thruster.
Although the sea is closed we're going actually to the oldest section of the town.
There are 3 big waterways intersecting around the city, which are all connected to the big port of Rotterdam. So there is a lot of traffic here with barges shipping goods as far inland as Switzerland. That's the historical main gate. We were all so happy to be out on the water. And this was such a great way to explore the town. A very leaning church tower.
We're gonna make it.
Hope so.
Mind your head. Just.
This was the smallest model on
This
this
is the
boat.
smallest model. Yeah. This is just 30 seconds for a full rotation of the boat, so super easy, very comfortable, no need to stress anymore. So this is a single prop boat, you know, so it's quite difficult to because of the prop walk. Now we can just fight it back with the thruster.
If you're in Dordrecht and want to experience it from the water, book your custom boat tour with Sea Barone. Oh, this was so good. Oh. Fish. Before leaving the Netherlands, we packed the car full with the jet thruster, said goodbye to the team, and then drove towards Germany. We stayed one night in a small village on a pretty hotel, and then we had 2 full days with friends on Lalandia in Denmark, which not only had a water park but lots of activities, and Vera had so much fun. Thanks for watching, and see you back on the farm next week.